In 2024, the Democratic Party faced one of its greatest defeats after losing the election to a moronic, fascistic, dumbass who, quite frankly, is probably gonna tank the economy. This defeat was, there's no easy way to put it. It was just catastrophic. Something like this was just not seen. The country not only gave Donald J. Trump an electoral slide, but quite frankly, they also gave Donald J. Trump a popular vote victory. Many people thought that once California votes were counted, that the popular vote was still going to swing for the Democrat. It didn't. When all said and done, the vote ended up being, I believe, from my memory, general election. It was I believe it was, it came down to, it was 77 to 75 million votes. So, effectively speaking, there's no excuse for this. Like, there really is no excuse. There's no electoral college excuse this time around. There's no, hey, fuck the college, because the college is the what actually screwed us. America would have voted for us. No. This time, America voted for Donnie J. Trump. And, well, the question now is, what the hell do we do from here? That was a brief explainer because, quite frankly, I don't want to really stick around and just, drag about why they lost, why this, and that. I want to talk about what the title of the video is. The Left Forward Plan. And so, let's dive into it. For starters, we need to talk about our organization. The truth of the matter is the left is too disunited. Ladies and gentlemen, the right wing is united as ever could be. The libertarians are practically being ran by the freaking Mises caucus half the time, who are just directing libertarian voters to Republican candidates. On top of that, too, the media is coordinated. We know this from multiple leaks, from multiple, right wing, right wing individuals who are just getting paid off by bigger sources, bigger guys, to spread right wing propaganda. So, in short, the left must unite. We must do what the NFP in France did in France. And quite frankly, this is where I want to move into how exactly that looks. How does exactly the left uniting looks? And so for me personally, in my view, the main organizations of the left are Working Families Party, Justice Democrats, Our Revolution, labor unions such as Sinn Féin, and DSA. Right? So on this note, we need to combine all of our resources, and then all of our resources, which specifically, actually going forward into this video, we're going to be specifically focusing on monetary organization, exactly how we should be spending our dollars. Because that's where I think the left lacks critically is how does it build revenues? How does it build funding in the movement? How does it build a monetariness to challenge the powers that are inserting their ungodly amount of money into the system? And so this is where, continuing now, I believe the left needs to unite. These groups need to come together and combine their resources and divide them into accounts. So what are these accounts? How should they be divided? How does this look? Well, that's for the next section. Now, how will each account contribution work? How much will each org be expected to contribute from their main funds into this project, into the Left Forward Coalition, as I'm going to be calling it from this point on in the video? Well, I think the fairest way possible would just be to take out 5% of their total monthly budget, or maybe yearly budget, or some sort of number of like that, and into a general donation into this, because it's going to be a super PAC. Let's just be real, into this big left wing super PAC, and wherein the 5% is spread into 2% in their overview account, the account they have instructed specifically they have been instructed specifically to manage, and 1% for other accounts. That math doesn't add up, but the point is 3% in their overview account and about another 2% in their other accounts, the ones that they don't manage. Meaning basically, I apologize. No, I remember now with this calculation here. basically there's going to be a 2% overview of view account, meaning working families manages account one, meaning they would be putting 2% into that account. And then basically the other 3% would be spread out to the other accounts, meaning account two would get 1%, meaning account three would get 1%, account four would get 1%. And yeah, continuing on. Now, let's talk about how each account will be divided. I think it's best to say that account number one, working families and Justice Democrats and Labor as a whole should take over. Remember, account number one is the Fed account. Account number two would be working families and Our Revolution and Labor and DSA, because they really are effective state organizations as well. Account number three would be working families, labor, and DSA, because, again, their locality, that's where the roots begin. That's where everything begins. And then lastly, account number four is working families party and labor. So let's quickly talk about why they're split in this order. If one notices, most of the accounts are occupied by working families and labor. The reason for this is because both groups are pivotal, and I mean this, are pivotal to the left movement as a whole and must infect our entire operations. From the top down, Working Families Party is our vehicle that, when ready, will depart us from the old Democratic Party, while Labor is our broad arm, reaching out and bringing those into the coalition. Those workers that have been disaffected by the Democratic Party, those workers that have not heard the true message of the left-wing movement. This is why both need to be in almost all the process. With this all being said now, let's move on to the specifics with messaging and recruiting. All right, let's talk about messaging and recruiting. Specifically, let's talk about our messaging first here. First, our messaging has to be, what really comes out to two types of messaging, if you want my honest opinion here, which is that the first messaging is pretty much just, hey, look, we need to lead with populist left, not with socialist, not with, any other type of label. Populist left, that's what we need to run as. Populist left. We are populist left candidates trying to take down the establishment Democrats. That is what we need to run on. We need to run on that. We need to run that we are running against established Democrats, and we are the alternative. We are the alternative to the establishment Dems. Additionally, on top of that, we need to just speak as truth tellers. Here's the truth. Our truth is really simple. The establishment Dems are the ones holding you back. Kamala Harris had all the fundamentals on her side. Strong-ish economy, massive amounts of money donated to her campaign, and still nothing. Still nothing happened. And the reason for that was because she wasn't a populist leftist. She was a establishment Democrat. People do not want that anymore. And even on top of that, continuing, we will also highlight how we need to prepare for the incoming Trump disaster. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what's coming, in the Trump disaster is coming. This economy is terrible. Not this economy. Well, this economy is pretty bad in its own right, but Trump's economy is going to be pretty bad. This guy is not ready for what's coming. And if we, the left, show that we are ahead of that, and we show that, hey, look, we're calling it out, we're calling it out, that this economy is going to be terrible, and can get ahead of the messaging so that we were the ones we were the ones so ahead of the game and being truth tellers. Quite frankly, when the time unfortunately does come where Republicans reach out and get their voters to register, and also quite honestly, just in short, hold their hands through the process. They send in mailers, groups, transportation vehicles. The left doesn't do this. It just hasn't because because it's limited by in resources. But here's the thing: we don't need much resources. Just voter online forms and the ability to spread around. Basically, we need to figure out a way to just streamline our voters here. Get people to just not only register to vote, but constantly be able to remind them to go out there and vote. Honestly, hold their hands. Just hold them through the entire process. Um, it just doesn't do. Again, I know it does. We don't have a lot of resources, but there are ways to do this. There are ways to set up a reminder, basically like a reminder email that gets sent out, or a reminder notification that gets sent out on Instagram. Such as accounts and things like that. But yeah. Other than that, I can't wait to see you all to the part 2, and I hope you've been enjoying the video so far, the series so far. Thank you. Bye.